Good evening, everybody. So whenever we have newcomers, you're gonna have to give me some time to welcome them. Because I don't know, you don't get to see the admit button. I just see that, it seems, Anyway, let me share my screen with you. Today, I want to share this with you, which is the Microsoft Word document, as you can see. And we're going to talk about active, and then sentences. So most of the sentences that we have discussed are really active sentences, all right? That means sentences that, begin, with a subject, and then they're followed by a verb, and then they're followed by a complement. Sometimes the complement could be an object, sometimes it could be an adjective, and, other things, like, let me write a sentence down for you. I will teach you. I will teach what? The passive form today. Today is future in a way, right? Because today means future. When you use the word today, it's the future, right, guys? I will teach the passive form today. So this is my sentence. Look at this. Look at another sentence. I drink coffee with milk. What? I drink coffee with milk in the mornings. That's when I drink coffee with milk, right? Look at this sentence, okay? This one over here. I taught 3 classes today. Let me say, I taught 3 classes, before noon. Yeah, because now it is sometime, like not that just afternoon, but evening, right? Yeah. So before noon. Noon means 12 o'clock. Anyway, what I want you to pay attention to is that these sentences are called active sentences. The subject is I. I'm talking about myself every time in these sentences, okay? It doesn't have to be I. It could be probably, look, we're going to write a new sentence now. And our subject is going to be Dr. Ali. Dr. Ali, for example, what did he do? You go to Amman every day, Dr. Ali?
Yes, doctor. Every day.
Travels to Amman. Travels to Amman. Not just travels. He travels, yeah, okay, to Amman. And, teaches there too, okay? So these are sentences which are active. Active, why? Because the doer of the action is at the beginning of the sentence. Doer means al-fa'il, subject. These are the subjects, okay? And they do the actions. The subjects here, what do? They do the action. Which action here? For example, when I talk about myself, I will teach, this is the action, all right? Who's going to do it here? The I, that is me, okay? Let's change this into not I, for example, my daughter. My daughter. And of course, since I said my daughter, I have to go for the S, see? Right? Yeah. So this verb, I do it, okay? And what I will teach what? This is the passive form, okay? This is the object, okay? So this is an active sentence. Why is it active? Because the doer of the action is at the beginning of my sentence, okay? Time expression, as you can see today. My daughter, the subject, the doer of the action. These are active sentences. Why? Because the doer of the action is at the beginning of the sentence. She what? She drinks. Drinks what? Coffee. That's the object, And how does she drink her coffee? With milk, And then the time expression in the morning. in the mornings. Why mornings? This S here means like every morning. The S, the goal of the S, when you say in the mornings, in the evenings, in English, we say this when we mean every morning, every evening, okay? Got the idea? This is how we use it in English, all right? To reflect sometimes, frequency, okay? Frequency like tikrar. That means, it happens today, it happens, the next day and so on, but every morning. Look at this. Now this is future, right? We'll teach. Here, present simple, drinks, see? Now I, again about myself, how about I change it? Because you know what? We want different subjects, for example, huh? Let's say Nancy, huh? Nancy taught. Okay, my friend probably. Or let me say Dr. Nancy, because she is a doctor at the English department. Dr. Nancy, what did she do? She's going to be so happy that she appeared in a sentence, guys. So Dr. Nancy, she taught, I don't say she, of course, but I'm just saying now, I'm reflecting on this sentence itself. I'm saying she, but you cannot say she. Be careful. It's either this or that. So Dr. Nancy taught. Taught what? Taught is the past tense of teach. Teach is verb 1. Taught is verb 2, meaning past. Verb 3 is, we call it the past participle, right? Yeah. And we use it in the passive, but we're not using, these are not passive sentences right now. Okay, but I want to tell you good news about the verb teach. The past form of it is taught, and the past participle is taught. Okay, it's a regular or irregular verb. You tell me. I'm listening.
Irregular.
Exactly, because anything that does not end, look, the rule is does not end in ed in the past and ed in the past participle is called irregular. That's the rule, okay? So please remember that, huh? Not because taught is, in the past taught, and then in the past participle it's taught the same, that means it's regular. No, 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 no. Be careful. Regular is clearly defined that a verb has a form in the, let me say in the present or in the infinitive, and then in the past, it has ed added to the base form, and then we have ed, to, let me say, the past participle, okay? That is verb 3. Other than that, they are called irregular verbs, although like put, irregular. They look all the same, even, not just one or two of them look, alike, all right? So this is irregular, okay? If I say Dr. Nancy closes the door, closed the door, opened the window, regular, opened, ed, okay? Got the idea? So she taught what? This is the object, 3 classes. And this is a time expression before noon, before 12 o'clock, because noon means 12 o'clock. All right. Dr. Ali travels to Amman. How about we change this a bit? Why? Because we need an object. We need an object, okay? Dr. Ali probably teaches in Amman, because I'm going to tell you something about the passive. We cannot passivize all sentences if they don't have an object. Sorry. Dr. Ali teaches, let me say, what do you teach? Engineering?
Engineering.
Engineering. That's what I was thinking about, okay? I'm thinking about the object, that's why. Because I want to tell you guys something. Not all sentences are pacified or made passive. If we don't have a subject, we don't have a subject and the verb and an object, no passive for the sentence, okay? And you can write any active sentence you want, right? Like the sentences that I just wrote, you saw me, and I made changes for them because we didn't have what? We didn't have an object. Did you see why I changed? I did it on purpose. Why did I change? To tell you that when we have sentences in the active form, they're fine. The sentences are fine. Nothing is wrong with them. You can say anything you want in the active. Active means mabni al-ma'loom, guys, all right? That the doer of the action is at the beginning of the sentence. You can say anything you want, express yourself as you like, all right? But the problem is not all sentences that are in the active form can be changed into passive. مش كل الجمل المبنية للمعلوم ممكن إنه الواحد يعمل منها جمل مبنية للمجهول بالإنجليزي، okay؟ في شرط، شو هو الشرط؟ The condition is that لازم يكون في عندي subject. هيهم هذول كلهم فيهم subjects. I, my daughter, Dr. Nancy, Dr. Ali. I have to have a verb here. It is will teach, future. Drinks, present simple. Taught, past. Teaches again, present simple. All right. I need an object. The passive, coffee, 3 classes, engineering. All these are objects. Objects معناها what, guys? مفعول به. This noun that is followed by the verb, and it is what? In Arabic, we call it مفعول به. That's what we call it in English, object. Okay? Yeah. How do we change these sentences now? Or we don't change them, guys. We rewrite them. It's a different way of saying the sentence. هي طريقة تانية للتعبير عن الجملة. الباسيف أو المبني للمجهول. Why do we use it anyway? إحنا ليش بنستخدمه أصلاً? Why do we use passive? Who can tell me? Why do we use passive sentences, guys? Do you know why? Well, why do we use passive sentences, guys? I'll tell you why. We use passive sentences because we don't know who did the action. This could be one reason. We don't want to say who did the action sometimes. We know, but we don't want to say who did the action because we're scared of that person, because that person is of power and we don't want to be, punished because we, as we say, they say, tattle told about them, like kind of, told something about them that they did, which is not so great, or because simply passive in English is a formal style. نمط رسمي في الكتاب، يا اما ما بنعرف مين اللي قام بالحدث عشان هيك بنستخدم مبني للمجهول، او ما بدنا نقول لاسباب مختلفه، ممكن نخاف من العقوبه، الشخص هذا مثلا له سلطه or something of that kind، او هو بصراحه بالانجليزي تحديدا كمان الباسيف is a style. هيك طريقه في الكتابه هيك رسميه ولبقه وحلوه and it reflects education يعني. Okay. It reflects that you're educated, and something of that kind. So let's rewrite these sentences in the passive. لو بدنا نعيد كتابة هذول الجمل بس بالpassive. دائما بالpassive, guys, بنجيب الobject بنحطها في البداية. So this sentence, how is it going to be in the passive? Who can tell me? I will teach the passive form today. So I will teach is the verb, the passive. This is the object. So I will use it at the beginning of my passive sentence. So the passive form, because we have somebody trying to come in. The passive form, so we bring the object, the passive form, put it at the beginning to make passive. The passive form did not do the action anymore. This is المفعول به. So the subject of a passive sentence is what receives the action. بقى عليها الفعل هاي. All right? Yeah. So the verb, what happens to the verb now? We want to rewrite the verb, but in passive. You know the form of the passive verb. I once told you guys, الverb بالpassive, guys, دائما في past participle. بس قبل past participle بدي أفكر. هاي الفعل الرئيسي, guys, هذا اللي هون بده يكون دائما past participle. بس هذا شو بده يصير فيه؟ بالمودلز اللي هن will, would, can, could, shall، هذول شو بنعمل فيهم؟ بننزلهم زي ما هم بالباسيف. يعني عندي will بنزل will. But what do I put after it? لازم وراها be، لأنه a form of be، and then هاي teach شايفينها verb 3 taught. So the passive form will be taught by me. طبعا هاي extra by me مش ضرورية. اوكي بس بعض الجمل شفتوها انتم ممكن تلاقوها by me, by myself, sometimes we say something like that. It's not necessary. مش ضرورية. يعني we can leave it out. You can leave it in or leave it out. The best way to do دايما الاشي اللي ممكن نخليه او نشيله it's common to be put between brackets بين اقواس تنصيص زي هيك. صح ولا لا؟ So let's do that. Okay. So not just this form, guys, not just this form. Let's fix here, admit here. All right. Not only will, يعني if I had can, if I had could, if I had would, shall, the same way. Bring the model verb hon, shall or could or can, be, then verb 3. So this is not only with will, with all the models. Okay? This is how a passive sentence looks. Like I said, the passive form, this is now my new subject. will be taught. And then by me. So if you ever see a sentence like this, it's passive. Okay? Because the passive form cannot do this action. Can the passive form teach? You tell me, can it? It can't. So you have to use the verb in a certain way where this subject receives the action. Okay? The passive form will be taught. سوف يدرس. That's what it means. هيك معنى الجملة صار, huh? And by me, the speaker, because I'm talking about myself here, okay? By me, by Dr. Sousan, if someone else is the speaker, because you might say Dr. Sousan will teach the passive form today, right? If you're the person who's talking about me, but here, because I'm talking about myself, okay? Let's take a look at the second sentence. We want to make it passive. We want to rewrite it in the passive. My daughter drinks coffee with milk in the mornings, right? So we want now to bring the object. We have to be able to tell that this is the subject, this is the verb, this is the object. It's a noun. How do we know the object? It's a noun followed by a verb, guys. Followed by the verb of the sentence, okay? Coffee. Let's begin. So what do we say? Who can help me with this sentence? Let me hear what you have to say about it. Come on, coffee. Coffee. Let's look at the verb. The verb is drinks. How do we deal with verbs like this, the present simple verb? Who knows how? We want to use a form of verb to be. So we use either is, am, or are with present simple.
Can I?
Guys, hello. You need to
Can
mute
I?
I've muted myself and I don't know how to mute you guys. Let me try to mute you guys. I'm trying to mute everyone on the list. I'm sorry about that, guys, but you know, there was a lot of noise coming. So yeah, Dr. Ruba, help me out here. Yalla. Coffee. The verb is present simple, drinks. So what are we going to say about drinks? Yalla, Dr. Ruba, remove the mic, unmute. Can you do that?
The passive form is coffee is drunk.
Coffee is good, drunk. And then, what can we say? In the mornings.
Yes, the completion of the sentence.
Good. And you say by, this is of
The
course
milk in the morning.
extra good by my daughter. With milk, of course, we have to add with milk by my daughter.
Without by. We can do
But
this.
sometimes it's there. Sometimes
by.
it's there. That's why I put it between brackets. Brackets means sometimes you might find it. Sometimes you might not, right?
Yes, it's extra.
Coffee with milk. We said, where is it? Here, where is the sentence with milk? We have to put the whole thing here because there's with milk. Is my subject. So coffee with milk is the subject, not just coffee, is drunk in the mornings by my daughter. This is like, you know, additional, okay? But in English, it's, listen, Dr. Ruba, I mentioned this. Where were you? I said in English sometimes passive is not because we want meaning in we don't know who did it. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes we don't say.
No matter the subject.
So that's why we don't even include it because everybody knows. So why say it? And sometimes it's just a style that reflects what, you know, your education. Okay. So is that, you know, now we have coffee. As we said, the object is brought at the beginning for passive, in passive sentences. The verb, coffee with milk.
Yes.
Then we have is drunk. This is the verb. Why is drunk? Because look at my verb over here. It's present simple. With the present simple, guys, we choose between is, am, and are. We take a look here. Coffee. What does it take as a verb? Is, am, or are? So it takes is. It doesn't take am because am is with I. It doesn't take are because coffee is not plural. It's uncountable, right? And uncountable nouns, they take is if we need the verb to be, okay? So coffee with milk is. And of course, in every passive sentence, we need past participle. We look this verb itself, which is present simple, and that's why we use the present simple verb to be here. We use it now as verb 3, as past participle. Drink Past of it is drank, and verb 3, we need drunk. In all passive structures, every kind, imagine the last verb here, is what should be in the past participle. Okay, so and of course we finish up the sentence. We finish it up by putting the rest of the complement time expression in the mornings, and then if we want to, we can say, that's why I have it between brackets, by my daughter, which was the subject. So when we say coffee, does coffee with milk do the action? No, it doesn't. So think about the verb here. Like in the exam, when I give you a verb like drink, you ask yourself, does coffee drink? No. So don't use it in the active. It is drunk. It is consumed by people. Okay. So it is an object originally. And so it is something that, is what, let me say, it is not the doer of the action. It is used as a way, to what? By people. All right. Yeah. So it receives the action, we say. It what? Receives the action. That's what coffee, is and functions in the sentence. Okay. So that's why it is, passive, and it should be written in the passive in that case. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ruba. Let's have another assistant who's going to help me with the next sentence. Dr. Nancy taught 3 classes before noon. Dr. Nancy is my subject. Taught is the verb in the past. 3 classes is our new what? The subject of the passive sentence is 3 classes. So 3 classes is the subject of my passive sentence, huh? Yeah, it receives the action. Yes, help me. Yes, go ahead. Dr. Mish'al, 3 classes, what?
3 classes are
good job.
Are taught before noon.
Good. Are taught
by Dr. Nancy.
Yes, before noon, and then between brackets by Dr. Or let me just leave it the way it is. It's better to have it that way, Dr. Nancy. Okay. Thank you so much. Yes, and then the period. So yes, the object here, we bring it to the beginning. It's capitalized. Look, every beginning has a capital letter, even though here it wasn't. But the beginning in every sentence in English, that's just, the way that, sentences are composed in English. When there's a different beginning, that new beginning is capitalized. All right. So 3 classes, look, past. So we need a verb to be in the present, like the past. We need a past. We need an auxiliary. We need a verb to be. But here it was present, so we chose among the present verb to be's. Here we want to choose a past, either was or were. So what's wrong with my sentence? What's wrong with my sentence? There's a mistake here. What's wrong? I'm going to erase this.
We have to use were.
So are is correct if this sentence was Dr. Nancy teaches. But this is not teaches, this is taught, it's past. So the helping verb, the auxiliary, the verb to be that we want to use should be either was or were. Because classes, it's plural. We don't say was, we say were. Did you understand, Dr. Mish'al, what the problem was? Did you understand? This verb,
yes.
past. Since it's past, the verb to be should be past. You were right by choosing plural. You chose plural correctly, but you should also pay attention to the tense, that the sentence was past. So this also not only plural and past. So make sure that you do both of them. Okay. So 3 classes were, and of course the verb is verb 3. It's just like verb 2, by the way. See, verb 3 here is like verb 2. I mentioned this. Taught. So 3 classes were taught before noon, and then by whom? By Dr. Nancy. She is the one who did the action, right? The classes received the action. The verb should be in the passive. Why? Because we're talking about classes. The classes here did not do anything. They received an action. Of course, classes didn't teach. Yani, why would you say the classes taught? Wallah, do classes teach since when? Got the idea? And here, look here, coffee. The verb is drink. Since when does coffee drink? Is coffee a name of a person or a cat? In that case, it would do the action. The passive form, does it teach? No, it doesn't. It's a kind of, let me say, a grammatical structure, right? It doesn't do an action like that, and so on. Got the idea? So we need to think about the meaning of verbs and how they are used. Now we want to go for what, guys? Huh? Oh, wow. Correction is not so great. Let's go for the last sentence. Dr. Ali teaches engineering. This is for you, Dr. Ali. You pacifies your own sentence. Dr. Ali teaches engineering. I'm gonna begin.
Okay,
Huh?
Doctor.
Yeah.
Engineering is teaching.
Huh?
It's taught.
Here's the verb. Look at it. Teach
Is taught.
is taught.
Taught.
Yes, taught, we say, okay? Yeah. So this is all silent. Yes, English is weird. English is weird. I mean it really sometimes, you know. So engineering, look, teaches, it's present, just like teach is present. It's the same. The only difference is that here I was talking about myself, you know. Sorry. Oh, I'm talking about here drinks, not about this. This is future. I'm talking about this drinks, teaches, present simple verbs. All right. So the same thing we have to do for them. That is what to put an verb to be here. What is the suitable verb to be for engineering? It's is. And then as we're using the same verbs here, so engineering is taught by, you say, if you're the one, so by Dr. Ali, because we're talking about you. You know, at the university of what? What's the name of your university?
Applied.
By Dr. Ali, taught at Al-Balqa, like this. Applied University. Okay. So engineering is taught at Al-Balqa Applied University by Dr. Ali. That's the sentence. Okay. So we didn't have it here, but it's okay. We can just, you know, because we want to sometimes, you know, extend the sentence and have something longer sometimes. So this is the passive, guys. I hope that, you know, things were clarified. Imagine that we have this sentence. Let me write just a few more. Look at this sentence. I had seen, no, not I don't want to use I, okay? Let me just do this. The woman had seen the kidnapper in a picture. Yeah, one more. Let's do this one. The woman had seen the kidnapper in a picture. You know what a kidnapper means? What does kidnapper mean? Do you know what kidnapper means? This is very common in the United States of America, by the way. Kidnappers are people who kidnap children. Kidnap means steal, unfortunately. It's very common in the States, okay? So anyway, and of course, this woman, she identified her maybe through the picture. All right, so it looks like I'm gonna have to mute you guys all. I'm sorry about that, but you know, sometimes I don't know, maybe you can't tell that your phone is making noise and a distraction, so that's why. So yeah, let's pacify this sentence, okay? What do we do? Simply, the woman had seen, this is the verb, past perfect, the kidnapper. So we want to start the sentence by saying what? Now, the kidnapper. Oh, wow, Dr. Ruba, I keep muting your mic and then what you unmute it. Why? So the kidnapper, maybe in the picture. Or the kidnapper, let me say, I think this is better to say the kidnapper. The woman had seen the kidnapper when in a picture. This is like the prepositional phrase, so we don't want to put it, no, just the kidnapper, okay, is more suitable by itself. What? The verb, guys, look, it's past perfect. It's not simple, it's not past simple. What are we going to do here? With past perfect, guys, we always put had. Always. But we put what? Been for the passive, and then verb 3. Had, been, and the verb 3. What's the verb here? It's the same. Because anyway, past perfect takes verb 3. Had been seen. In a picture, this is a complement. We write the rest of the sentence. In a picture. In a picture by, Oh, wow, guys. In a picture by the woman. We're gonna meet on Saturday, inshallah, right? We're gonna meet on Saturday, guys. So the kidnapper had been seen in a picture by the woman, okay? The woman that, you know, saw the kidnapper or thinks she saw or can identify him, you know? See, this is how you do it. One more sentence, okay? What is the sentence going to be? Look at this one. I don't want to use I. Let me choose Islam. Islam is typing an essay for her what? For her what? Give me a title of a course. For her history of English. This is one of our classes. History of English literature class. Okay? Islam is typing, that's the verb. An essay is the object. For what? For her history of English literature class. The name of the course is History of English Literature. Okay, that's her class, like a class that she's taking. So what do we do here? Islam is typing an essay. So what do we say? An essay. Let me go back a little bit up here. Oops. An essay. Help me. Who can help me with this sentence? An essay. The object. We begin with it. With this present continuous, do you know what we do? Verb to be, and then being, and then verb 3. See the order? An essay, verb to be. With an essay, what do we do? M is or R? Is. Yes, because we have continuous, any continuous form like this, we need being.
It's being.
And then all the time, because passive, the last verb in the passive, no matter what form passive we are talking about, whether it's mod, whether it's present perfect, whether it's past perfect, whether it's present simple, past simple, whatever form, we need past participle of the verb, the main verb that is in the sentence here. It's typing, so we want type, typed, ed, guys. It's a regular verb, okay? An essay is being typed by, or let me write the rest of the sentence.
By Islam.
Is being typed for the history or for her history, okay? For the history. Because we don't say her history, okay? For the history, we should be clever sometimes with words. For, sorry, it's the title. The title should be capitalized, all of it from A to Z. The history of English. What is it? Literature class. And then we say an essay is being typed for the history of English literature. An essay is being typed, by whom? This is optional. See? By Islam. Period. Okay, guys. So I hope, yani, that we have been using, you know, different kinds of tenses, you know. This helps you, you know, have some kind of knowledge of the structure of the passive and the structure of active sentences, you know. So I hope, you know, now it's saved in the recording, you know that, okay? So take a look. Islam is typing. Islam is doing the action here, What? An essay for her history of English literature class. We want to write it in the passive, We bring the object here, an essay. Of course, the essay does not type, so it has to be in the passive form. If it was in the active, that means, listen, guys, if this was in the active, like you say, an essay is typing, this would be wrong. It's illogical. It's against logic, right? So yeah, so we must use the passive form because it means that the action, you know, this receives an action which is being typed. The essay receives the action which is typing, right? An essay is being typed. يعني المقال عم بنطبع أو يطبع المقال أو طبع المقال عم بنطبع المقال اللي هو المقال اللي بيخص مادة التاريخ في الأدب من قبل by Islam يعني من قبل, you know. And this we said is optional. Okay, look at this. The kidnapper had been seen in a picture by the woman. The kidnapper تمت مشاهدة الخاطف في الصورة. طبعا من مين؟ من قبل امرأة معينة or something like that. Okay? And so on. All the sentences are like that. Okay? كل الجمل على هذا الغرار. Do you guys have any questions about this? No, we're all fine, satisfied, happy. Okay, let me share with you now. I'm going to stop sharing this. You have it now saved. If you ever want to go back to it, you can. In this video, you can go back to it. And I want to share with you, my book right now. Okay, here we go. I've, enlarged it. Let me bring these pictures down here. And I think we want to go where? To the passive. What page number is the passive? 178. Maybe I can do that fast. All right. Let me guys take you to 178. Quickly, hopefully quickly, 178. Okay, where are we? Almost there. Yeah. Here we go. Here we are. Here we are. Yeah, 177, 178. Let me just enlarge this a bit. Okay. All right. Is this clear? The passive, everyone? Can you see the passive? Or do you want it larger, even larger, a little bit larger? Yeah, here we go. So problems with passive verbs. Now I think you're not going to have that many problems, okay? Because we talked about passive. Sentences in which the error is an incorrect passive are common in the written expression section of the TOEFL test. You therefore need to be able to recognize the correct form of passive. You have to recognize the form, okay, of passive, okay? Like this is passive or not, for example, okay? And what kind of passive is it? Present passive. Present passive means originally the sentence was present simple. Past passive, present perfect passive, past perfect passive, model passive with will, for example, and so on. The different, sorry, where are we? And to be able to determine when a passive verb rather than an active verb is needed, right? Now we know when we need an active verb or a passive verb. It depends on the subject, guys. Is it a subject that, can act or receives the action? We have to ask ourselves all the time, this subject, can it act, do this verb, or can it receive it? Every time we must ask this question, okay? Because if we don't ask this question, we're going to have a problem. يعني كل مرة بدي أسأل حالي السبجكت في الجملة هو بيقوم بهذا الفيرب الحدث اللي موجود الفعل ولا يعني بيستقبل أو بيقع على الحدث؟ لأنه إذا هو بيقوم بالحدث جملتي لازم تكون active، بينما إذا بقع على الحدث يعني هيك بالمنطق بنشعر إنه هذا اللي بالسبجكت موجود بقع على الحدث، بدي أنا أعمل جملتي إنها تطلع معي passive. Okay? All right? So I hope you understand what that means. All right? So the difference between an active and a passive verb is that the subject in an active sentence does the action. Of course, that means بجمل الactive السبجكت اللي بداية الجملة شو معمل؟ هو اللي بيعمل هذا الفيرب، بيقوم بهذا اللي هو الكتاب. هون write، شايفين wrote؟ مارغريت اللي عملت هذا الحدث هون اللي هو بالماضي يعني هو wrote، كتبت. اوكي؟ and the subject in a passive، شوفوا السبجكت يعني الكلمة الاسم اللي بداية الجملة ماله هذا بالباسيف receives the action، يعني بقع عليه الفعل اللي هو الكتابة. الليتر اللي هي الرسالة بقع عليها اللي هو الفعل اللي هو عملية الكتابة، صح ولا لا؟ Yeah. Of the verb. To convert a sentence. Convert means change, guys. Another word for changing is to convert. This is used a lot with religions. When someone is probably Christian and converts to Islam, we say he changed his religion. Instead of saying changed, we say converted. It means changed also. A sentence from active to passive. How do we do that? We want to rewrite this from active to passive. I told you how, right? And then look at the example. What do we do? Two changes must be made. One, the subject of the active sentence becomes the object. Here's the subject. It becomes the object, like over here, after the verb. That means in this kind of way. Okay? While the object of the active sentence, what happens to it? Becomes the subject of the passive sentence. So this object over here, it becomes the subject of the passive sentence, right? The verb in the passive sentence, this is what? The passive sentence. What happens to the verb is formed by putting the helping verb be. So we have the helping verb be, which is here, what? Was. Because helping verb be is is, are in the present. But because this is past, we're not going to choose one of those. We're going to, or, was, or were. Because this is past, we're going to choose either was or were, and we decide whether we want to choose past was or past were based on the subject here. It's singular, the letter. So that's why we choose was, because was is for what? You know, what? Singular. Okay, singular past. So the verb in the passive sentence is formed by putting the helping verb be, like we said here, in the same form as the verb. So this is the form of the verb. That means this is present, simple. This should be present. This is past. We use past here. Okay, so this is past. So that's why we have past here. And then adding the past participle of this verb. See, and then the past participle, the verb 3 of this verb. All passive sentences have must. They share this in common. They have the past participle of the verb over here. All of them. But something else besides that before the passive verb sometimes might go on. If it's present, we use a present verb to be. If it's past, we use a past verb to be. If it's present continuous, we use the verb to be. Then being, then past participle. If it's, you know what? Perfect, the perfect forms. We have has or have or had. We must always have been. And then what, guys? Verb 3. Models like will, can, could, I already told you. We put the model form down. We add be, and then the past participle. So I hope that was clear to you. I kind of summarized it in talk. You can listen to this again if you want. And, you know, we have the examples on the Microsoft Word document. You know, you can also go and, you know, revisit them or visit them again. All right. Yeah. The first example is an active sentence. This one over here, right? We said this. To convert this active sentence to a passive. So there's some repetition, guys. Okay. You must first make the subject of the active sentence Margaret. If we want to convert it the other way around, bring Margaret and put it here, like now the opposite. Okay. The object of the passive sentence with by. Okay. That is it. This is the subject of the active sentence. Like what follows by is the subject of the active sentence. Okay. The past tense of be, we look at it, is was. So this means that when we see something like this in the passive was, that means this verb over here, was past in the active sentence. Okay. So it's, you know, you have to think about this and visit it, you know, and think about it once or twice, and then things will be fine. Is used in the passive form. All right. Then the verb wrote in the active sentence, this is the active sentence. Look at the verb wrote in the active sentence. Is changed to the past participle written, right? Look at it. See how it's changed into written in the passive sentence. So, you know, just chit chat about all this. We have said this, and, you know, you can just read it step by step and think about what is being, you know, said and understand it. Or if you understood it, you don't even have to go over this. Okay. It should be noted that in a passive sentence, by plus object does not need to be included. We said this, like by whatever the object is. Yeah, and it's not necessary to be put, but we put it just to show you that, you know, you don't have to make it disappear. If you want it to appear, you can. If you want to remove it, it's fine. Okay. See, does not need to. Doesn't mean that you must remove it. You can remove it. It just means to have a complete sentence. The following are both examples of correct sentences. So if you say something like this is correct. And if you say something like this, it's correct. See, the letter was written yesterday by Margaret. It's passive, the sentence, right? It's the same sentence, guys. The letter was written yesterday, but you don't want to say by Margaret. It's fine. You just end with a period and you don't say who did it. Fine. All right. So notice that these passive sentences are correct if by Margaret is included, as in the first example. So if it comes in the exam and you have by the person, it's fine in English. Or if by Margaret is omitted like it's not there, as in the second example. Okay. Any questions, guys, about this? Do you have any questions about this? No? Because that's the lesson, really. Okay, that is really the lesson.
دكتورة لو سمحتي بس آخر جملة، يعني إذا إجت بسؤال مش لازم نحذف الباي، صح؟
You can put it and you can leave it. يعني بيها تمام وبلاها تمام. مش هاي نقطتنا. نقطتنا ننظر للفعل وليس بباي مين اللي قام بالحدث.
تمام.
يعني وجودها وعدم وجوده تمام صح. اوكي. هاي مش النقطة اللي احنا نصير ندور عليها بالامتحان. احنا بدنا نطلع على الفعل نشوفه سليم ولا لا. Got it? So skill 37 يعني احنا باعتبار بعدنا ما حكينا بالskill. Alright, احنا حكينا بس ما حكينا. Alright, so use the correct form of the passive. لازم نتعلم كيف نستخدم الفورم المناسب. Okay, yeah. One way the passive can be tested in the TOEFL exam, you know, TOEFL test is simply with an incorrect form. افرضوا حطوا لك incorrect form. يعني pay attention to this, okay? يعني أنا أعطيتكم كل الforms ترى المناسبة of the passive. The following are examples of passive errors. Errors means mistakes, أخطاء that might appear in the TOEFL. For example, look guys, the portrait, الصورة. Portrait means the picture. الصورة. Was. طب إحنا لما أخذنا was شو الحالات اللي ممكن يجي وراها was؟ اوكي احنا قلنا painting by a
التصريف
famous artist.
الثالث.
ايوه so اول شيء the portrait ما بتقوم بحالات، اذا هي passive، يعني الجمله فيها فعلا لازم تكون passive لان portrait ما بتدهن ما بترسم. paint اللي هي تعرفوا الالوان الزيتيه الرسم فيها، فهي ما بتقوم بهذا الحدث، هي بحدث عليها الصوره هذا الحدث اللي هو الرسم. right so basically هي فعلا لازم تكون passive. هلا بنظر لهون وبعدين طلعوا by a famous artist. هاي مرات حلوه وجودها كويس كمان بتساعدني زياده لانه هذا اللي بيقوم بالاكشن اللي هو الرسم. right by من قبل you know فنان مشهور. so what's the correct answer? Tell me.
Can I?
yes
Portrait
was شو ممكن يجي وراها؟ احنا اخذنا هلا passive، شرحت لكم passive.
was
شو
painted.
being painted. Was being painted.
يعني ممكن نقول الشائع صراحة لأن الموناليزا مات، تعرفوا اللي رسمها أوكي وموجودة بالمتحف يعني أوكي كونه مات وموجودة بالمتحف يعني خلينا نستخدم الباست passive أحسن. right مش معناها إنه غلط نقول was being painted by a famous artist، بس الشائع جدا احنا رحنا على معرض شفنا معرض you know الرسم والفن والألوان الزيتية and so يعني رجاء يعني لو إنه شوي تعملوا ميوت للمايكس تبعاتكم you know I have a hard time sometimes trying to mute
أنا طلبت إنه أجاوب حكيتي لي يس عشان
Yes,
هيك أنا
yes.
فتحت المايك.
لا ما في مشكلة، بس بعد ما تخلصي إنه سكري تعرفي ليش؟ لأنه في زي شوشة
ما خلصتي يعني ما اقتنعتي بالإجابة فقاعد بحكي إنه was painted عشان ما كملت يعني.
لا إجابتك 100%، بس I'm telling you there's something better. عرفتي؟ مش مقتنعة، أنا قلت صح أوكي بس في أحسن من هيك لأنه الشائع جايز اللوحات لما نناقش نحكي عن لوحات، إحنا لوحات شفناها بمعرض أو بمكان معلقة يعني هي already رسمت أوكي. أنا بس بقول لك شو الأفضل الشائع أكتر أوكي، مش إنه مش غلط قواعديا جايز تقولوا was being painted 100% كان عم تنرسم، كانت عم تنرسم because you're saying something like listen basically a famous artist was painting a portrait or the portrait when I passed by. يعني ممكن أكون مريت والله من جنب الجامعة الأردنية وشفت فنان مشهور امبارح وهو كان عم برسم اللوحة. تمام عادي this is correct مش غلط، بس أنا كان قصدي أوضح لكم شغلة. Yes, Dr. Ruba, amazing. That happens. يعني that's not wrong, okay? But I'm saying that most of the times يعني we go to art galleries بنروح على art galleries and we see paintings بنشوف لوحات right مرسومة من مئات السنين sometimes you know and then we talk about them in this way. Oh, we say oh this famous portrait was painted by a famous artist. وبدل ما نقول a famous artist على فكرة لاحظوا التوفل بيحاول ما يستخدمش أسماء ترى، لاحظتوا؟ That's why إنه في كتير لأنه بدوش يسيء للاسم هذا ولا الاسم هذاك ليطلع الجملة مسبة بالآخر أو فيها يعني نشر لصيت واحد على حساب واحد تاني. ملاحظين أنتوا بهاي التوفل إنه في إشي زي هيك؟ يعني ليش ما قالوا مثلا والله ليوناردو دافنشي أوكي مثلا something like that. ففي عندهم مشكلة صراحة مع الأسماء المشهورة أو اللي مش مشهورة أو you know because they don't want to you know let me say appear as if they are siding with one artist or one group or one religion or got the idea. هذا الجول تبعهم على فكرة، فهم حريصين حتى شوفوا بهاي عشان ما يتهموا إنهم like you know people that are biased. تعرف يعني biased؟ يعني بصفوا جنب جبهة أو جهة أو ناس أو جماعة معينة. Okay, yeah. So Dr. Ruba, I hope you just got my point and that we're friends and everything is great between us. Yes, thank you so much for that.
No problem. Don't worry, Doctor. Thank you.
Yeah. You have to forgive me, Dr. Ruba. Your mic is super noisy. I swear to God, you know, later on, probably, I don't know if in the recording it shows, but, you know, when we listen, you know, sometimes, you know, when you have your, when it's unmuted, you know, your mic, I don't know what happens. I know I want you always to participate.
Okay, I am struggle to attend this
No,
lecture.
no.
Doctor. I'm struggle. I am
Your
struggle.
mic, guess what? I want to tell you something about your mic now. Your mic is super polite now. Yeah, but sometimes I don't know what happens. This, you know, you've seen this distractive noise with technical, you know, let me say, devices and stuff like that, right? Yeah, sometimes they cause a certain noise. Even me, when I use a mic in my classrooms at Yarmouk, sometimes it causes, you know, those noises. All right. So anyway, you are always welcome to be, you know, with us all the time. This is your right. And on the contrary, I want you to be, you know, here and to participate. And I want everybody else to, okay? Please do, guys. All right. Yeah, without you guys, really, you know, the class would be very boring. I want you guys to be involved, you know, I don't want to be on my own here. Thank you so much for everybody, you know, to everybody who involves themselves, even just a little bit, okay? So back to this sentence, huh? So the portrait was, as we said, that the corrections both are fine, but I just, you know, stood by one more, that's all, okay? Look at the second sentence. The project will finished, the project. Is it going to finish the project itself? Can it do an action? No, so it's passive. And then, but look, by Tim, huh? So the project, what do we say about will? We talked about it, huh? We said will be, and then verb 3, finished. That means Tim will finish this project. You know, listen, guys, before the semester ends, he must do that. Do you know why? Because then after that, you know, he can't do any more work, because then, you know, there will be the finals and stuff like that, you know, huh? So in the first example, the passive is formed incorrectly because the past participle painted should be used rather than the present participle painting. So painted is better here. This is what the writer of the book says, okay? In the second example, the verb to be, has not been included, all right? And some form of be, we have to have a form of be here, okay? With models, I said that, is necessary for a passive verb. So the verb in the second sentence should be will be finished. This is our lesson, guys. I hope that what I did earlier made this lesson easier on you, so that, you know, you won't struggle, and that later on, like I said, you can visit the recordings again as many times as you want. So the form of the passive, you know, we need the form of verb to be, plus past participle, okay? And then we have the by object as usual. Let's do some questions. Come on, guys. It's, you know, we've been working like forever on the passive. So this next skill is not going to be, you know, hard on you. It's just like a kind of repetition, really. You're going to see right now more exercises about the passive, really. So let's do some of these exercises. Who would like to help me with these exercises? Yalla, come on. Where are your hands? Hands up. We're not doing, you know, exercise here. Hands up means, you know, like I want participation. Come on. I'm looking at your names. I'm going through your names to see who's here, huh? So we have Dr. Ali, Dr. Mishal, Dr. Ruba, Dr. Noura, Dr. Hiba, Dr. Sana, Dr. Zoom, Dr. Asim, and Dr. Dua. We also have Dr. Asim. Oh yeah, I'm repeating. Dr. Rida, Dr. Khulud. Come on, guys. Where are your hands? Oh, amazing. So we have some participants. So let's have Dr. Noura. Okay, go ahead. Help
Yes,
us.
Doctor, number 4.
Mm.
The record had been chosen by dancers near the checkbox.
The record. In English, you know what the record means? The tape, like CD, the CD. The CD, it's like that, the record.
يعني تسجيلات تسجيلات
No.
تسجيلات.
يعني زمان كان في شريط. تتذكروا الشريط؟
Yeah.
أو اسطوانة؟
Yes.
That's what the record is. مش record دي بالك one noun, the record. يعني إنه الشيء اللي فيه الأغاني والموسيقى اللي هو الشريط. زمان كنا نقول عنه شريط, you know, cassette. All right. So the record had been chosen. يلا كملي.
هي دكتورة الصح chosen تكون التصريف الثالث, هي incorrect.
Oh yeah.
كنت رح أجاوبها أنا.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't notice that they made that mistake. Okay. Yes, thank you so much. By dancers. So this was the problem because when the record does not do the action, so it's passive, correct? Perfect. Okay. But the problem is the way the passive is structured, the verb, the passive is structured is wrong. With had, we have been, we have verb 3. So choose, OOS, by the way, choose. To choose. Okay. OO we have. And then chose, verb 3 is chosen, just an N here. So this just should be fixed by adding an N by dancers. See how by dancers is used? It's common in English to have by, who does the action. By the dancers near the jukebox. The jukebox is like the machine, the device where you put the records. It's called the jukebox. All right, Dr. Khulud, choose one.
Number 5.
Fine.
The topic for your research paper should have been approved by your advisors.
Good.
Advisor. Yes. Should have been approved. It's correct.
The topic for your research paper
Yeah.
should have been approved. Correct. 100%. Yes, should have been approved. We didn't take this one, okay? Because look, this is present perfect, but with model.
Should.
Should,
Yes.
with model.
Should أخذت
The model.
have.
So should followed by base form. This is
To
the base
have
form.
been,
Anyway,
yes.
look, it's have. And then have should always be followed by been.
yeah.
It's there. Then do we have verb 3? Should
By
have
bus.
been. Yes.
Yes.
This is really to criticize. Remember, we talked about criticism. This is a form of criticism. When we use like this form, it's like we're criticizing someone. Your research paper should have been approved, should have been accepted. What are you doing without the approval, you know? Or Yani, if you don't have it, go back to him, let him do it for you. Why are you so late? It's like saying something like that. Okay? By your advisor. If you are an MA student or a PhD student, you have an advisor, and you cannot begin working on some kind of research without the approval of your advisor. So the topic for your research paper or your dissertation, because it's a research paper really, should have been approved by your advisor long before you begin the work on it, because you don't want your work to go for, to be done for nothing, right? So yes, it's correct. No problem with this form. It doesn't have a problem. Verb 3. So approve, approved, approved. Okay. Have is followed by been, etc. Should is followed by a base form. This is the base form. It's a different kind of base form here. Nothing's wrong with this. One more sentence, and then we have to stop for a break. I need to get myself a glass of water too, So who wants to, Dr. Ruba, I didn't hear your voice recently, except, when we did not have a good time together earlier.
Okay. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
About sentence 5. Can we say the topic for your research paper should has been approved?
No. Listen, I want to tell you something. I want to tell you a secret, Dr. Ruba, and everybody here. What is the base form of has? Has. What's the base form of it? Have. What's the base form of have? Have.
Yes.
The base form for the auxiliaries, the perfect verbs, these perfect auxiliaries, we call them perfect auxiliaries, is have. Do you know that? It's have.
Oh,
So you can never use after should, has. All the time. After models, if you decide to use perfect like this, it should always be have. Okay? How about that? So generalize this rule and never forget it. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want to do a
Yes, thank
question? Do you want to fix one of these sentences or tell me whether one of them is correct or not? Any one of them.
Okay. Number 9.
Go ahead.
The offices were thoroughly clean last evening by the night crew.
Yeah. So the offices
were thoroughly clean.
Yeah. Thoroughly means, listen, thoroughly means what? You know what thoroughly means? Deeply.
يعني بشكل مستمر deeply.
No.
Yes.
Thoroughly means deeply. يعني deep cleaning. Deep cleaning takes a lot of time. Quick cleaning does not take a lot of time, but deep cleaning, Yeah.
Okay. The offices were being cleaned, thoroughly cleaned last evening by the night crew. Is it correct?
Just
like
clean.
this?
Just add ed, nothing else. No need for more
Just?
than Yeah, just that. No need
without
for-
being,
you know,
without.
Dr.
Oh,
Luba,
yes, yes.
you love
It's
being.
yes,
love
it is
being.
in the
I noticed
past, in the
that.
simple past. Yes, in the simple
But
past. Yes.
I noticed you have an attachment to being, EING, a special kind of attachment. It's better to say, because last evening, it's, you know, the time expression just shows that just past tense is fine, just past simple. So this is past, we call it past passive. No need for continuous, okay? So the offices were thoroughly cleaned, ED. This verb clean, it's what
أنا
a regular
بفكر إن هي بتكون بفكر هي بتكون أصلها يعني continuous, past continuous عشان هيك.
No, not necessarily. There is no, you know, there's nothing special in the sentence that shows it should be past continuous. It just shows that past simple. Because when you say last evening, ها المساء اللي مضى علينا امبارح المساء. So امبارح المساء ما بدها continuous عادي an action.
Simple past, yeah, simple past, yeah.
All right. So guys, we need to stop for 15 minutes and then we'll come back. Okay? Enjoy your break.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.